So there are a lot of AI tools out there, and a lot of it is slop. Some of it is useful. Some of them are earth shattering or mind melting. But for me, my litmus test is really asking people who use them and kind of get their feedback. Right? For me, it's the ask a friend mentality. And so today, Aisha Jordan is here with us today. Aisha, I did see that you worked on a project quite recently, and that you kept it very surface level, but the fact that you are building things that actually work and are effective, um, for me made me curious because throughout the meetings that we've been on, for the Sleep Society and all that jazz, like I do like the way your brain analyzes things, breaks things down, and the way you kind of keep driving yourself to implement things that actually work, right? So, um, with that said, I'm gonna leave this floor open today. Like, so how are you? Like, what tools are you working on these days?
Okay. So, like I mentioned, so I'm still using ChatGPT, maybe a little less and more strategically, for like bigger things and for when I'm waiting for my Claude, my Claude credits to re-up. Um, and ChatGPT Images 2.0 is amazing. If you're not using it, you need to use it. Those images are so much better than they used to be. And now I just go there and I ask her to like mock up an image. And actually, I have to ask her to do that for the anniversary party that's coming up. Because I have an image in my head of cupcakes, and I'm like, I want to be able to give this to the baker.
Fair enough.
So ChatGPT Images is amazing. It helped me with the images on my website and a couple other places. Claude is now my doer. So that's the tool I go to when I need things done. I built so many skills in Claude that I attach to agents. And remember, it's my Sparkle squad that I put together. Um, which is 14 agents. About half of them are currently deployed. The other ones will come on as my business grows and I need more sort of agents on deck. But I wanted to have them set up. And obviously, you can update the agents as you need to. But now they're really helping me to strategize. If I have an idea, I can go in there and pressure test and ask them, does this align with where I want to go? Does it align with what we've already worked on? They're helping me write resources for my website. So I actually have some to review. Claude went in and added things to my calendar for me to review today that the agents have put together. Although they use my voice, I still have to say, how does this make me feel when I read it? Do I like the way it's going? Do I like the direction? So like Viola, my viral script writer, writes my hooks. And then I have a graphic designer in there, which I haven't really used much since I've been using ChatGPT 2.0, but I'm going to go back in there. And my business coach and sort of chief of staff is the best because they'll keep you on task and say, you shouldn't be doing this because you said you wanted to do this. So it'll remind me of what I said before in the other chats that we've had.
Goodness gracious. So, like, how is it? This could get very, very confusing very quickly. But how do you have this? Like, I guess what is the tier structure, or what is the organizational chart, so to speak, for some of like the more critical agents that you've set up?
It depends what I'm doing. So now I'm trying to do a lot of content,
Mhm.
right? And so I have to say to I have to say, okay, I want to do it. And actually, I'm on a schedule that I need to do. So, like reels, I have to do, they'll give me a script for the reels. I have to look at the reels and I'll say, it knows what I want to do. And the resources are already on my website. So it'll be like, you have to talk about AI today and how there's typical use cases and what you've seen. And it really is trying to get me to pull from my background and my experience more than I have been, which we talked about last time, right? We've done all the things, but we haven't really put it out there. So it's really trying to get me to do that. So it'll say, today you have to do a reel about what you've seen and how you've helped a client, and it'll give me the script. I'll have to review the script, then I'll have to record it. The only thing it can't do is look at the actual videos, but it wants me to describe
Mhm.
It wants me to describe the scene. And with transcripts is a big thing. So it'll review like I could record a video myself just off the
Mhm.
cuff and then feed the transcript in and say, how does this
Mhm.
sound? Do I need to change anything? Um, and it's right now I'm focused on content on my website. The other thing that is I'm also focused on right now is really clarifying the deliverables. So I actually finally settled on how my services are delivered and what I want to focus on. And it's called structure intelligence. And so I'm working with the team on designing the structure read analysis or assessment, I guess, which is part of my duties today. I have to go review that and really get it ready and attach it to the website so that when traffic flows to the site, it's in there. And they help me prioritize those things.
So
So
these are like that's a separate agent that so you're talking to like individual agents separately?
sometimes I do, depending on what it is. So if I just have a strategy question, then I'll ask the business coach or the chief of staff. If I have content, then I'll ask the media or the marketing team. I also have a controller set up in there, and I have a legal and compliance to help me with agreements. Of course, and they'll flag things that perhaps I need to go to an actual attorney for. So, because of course, experts are still experts. So it'll like if I get a proposal from somebody and they'll analyze it and flag if there's something unusual that perhaps I need to dig into or consult an attorney about. Otherwise, I have a standard contract that they'll update and give me a draft for. I just have to feed them the information about who the client is and what the services are I'll be providing. So those are the things that are set up now. There's a copywriter. I, I think I don't think I set up my podcast skill yet, but I will set up my podcast skill
Okay,
in the coming
thank
weeks.
you. Thank you.
I'm happy to share it with you. And it's the thing about the skills is like you can get a skill from somebody, but you really have to um, customize it for you and yourself and your business and your goals. Like yesterday, I was helping my sister. She's like, "You have to get over here and set up my agents." And I'm like, "Well, what do you want your agents to do?" Because she's a lawyer and she's like works at a company. She is not trying to start her own business. And I'm like, so yesterday I was over there helping her set up her ChatGPT to give her daily briefing about what events she should be attending as a lawyer and trying to look for new roles and things like that, or opportunities to network. And I really had to ask her a lot of questions. She wasn't interested, but I'm like, I'll just have to do the best I can and we'll tweak it as it comes along, because if you get the outputs and you feel like it's not really working for you, then we'll have to figure out what's not working and then tweak the
Mhm.
instructions. And then I helped her set up a Claude skill to evaluate her events as well. And it gives her red, green, yellow things to look out for, questions to ask. And it even offered to draft her an email, reach out email, right? So if you see a recruiter, if you see somebody from an event or follow up emails or things like that, it will also draft that for you.
I like it.
And I'm like, okay. So everyone can use it. It depends on your tolerance and interest and all those
Yeah. I
things.
mean, I guess where my struggle was typically um well, it's not a struggle, right? I mean, for me, I have ChatGPT, and for me, it was really from as I use it more and more, and my as I look through some of the other tools, for me, it was a matter of ChatGPT is where I have my brainstorming and like the rough information gathering, right? Like that's like your mood board, so to speak,
Yeah.
right? And I do like the idea that Claude is the like to your point, is the doer. Like that's where you start like getting that's like for me in my brain, like that's where your agentic realm lives, where like, hey, this is where I have my interns, my employees, or my whatever, right? And now I can map it out and push it out. The one thing I have been playing with is the idea of having it look through my videos to help do some of the front work and for me to pull in. And so apparently, this is I have not tested yet. Um, apparently Gemini is actually really good at looking through the video content itself to kind of like analyze it out. But I do know a lot of people typically will just pay for a vidIQ. None of this is sponsored. I'm not sponsored by anyone. Just information sharing stuff for folks out there. I don't even use the tools myself yet, right? But vidIQ is one of those things that's been around for years, and now that the AI thing is here, vidIQ does seem to do a lot of these things. Now, for me, then now in my brain, I get to a point of like, how many of these things am I going to start paying for? And then my subscription budget just explodes to like absurd levels, right? And in the past, I typically like ChatGPT for the it was the first one that I came into like to interact with, but this is where I want to thread it carefully, because I know some people will just take the convenient parts and think that that's what the truth is. When it comes to the very technical, specific things and things that are especially niche. So for me, I was working in the R&D tax credit space. There's a lot of regulations, a lot of nuances, a lot of minutia that gets lost, right? And what makes things complicated is that depending on the administration, the rule sets change. So if you don't have the proper context and the proper time frame, you could get absurdly wrong answers. Absurdly wrong. So one of the things here is I looked at it from a lens of, I just need you to aggregate the information for me to go chase down, right? And the running trope here is that ChatGPT is like the cheerleader. Everything's, oh, that's great, you're amazing. I'm like, I don't need any of that. So like, I got really quick of all my prompts in the early stages was straight like, I don't want a cheerleader. Don't want it, right? I don't need an attaboy. I need yes or no. Like I need hard provable points. And if you don't know, do me a favor. Just tell me to go research it on my own. If you can't find a clear, definitive answer, and I need primary sources. So show me your receipts for everything. And if you disagree with it in my stance, tell me what you thought, what you're assuming my assumptions are. And then you could build out your disagreements with me there, and I'll be happy to chase it down. Now, this is the other part where people think, oh, okay, then it's like the running joke of, hey, tell ChatGPT to give me the right answers only. It's like stupid, right?
Well, no.
Right.
You have to give it a role, right? You have to tell it what you want it to do, how you want it to act. So in a lot of number one, I put my ChatGPT in genius mode, which is a different prompt you have to use. So it's always in genius mode. You can turn it on and off by telling her. And I'm like, I always want you to be a genius. You're a strategist. You're always telling me what's the best thing. And even when I prompt her every time, I say, like last time I was saying, act as a world-class brand strategist and look at my website and tell me what's missing. I asked her, should I add videos to it? And then I went into Claude and I said, Claude, Chatty and I worked on this. What do you think? I went to the team, actually. I went to the Sparkle team and I was like, everybody pull up. Let's talk about like what Chatty just told me about these videos. And she gave me like, here's where you start with these 3 videos. And they're like, she's right, but you should do this and this and this. And here's how you start. And then Claude added it to my calendar for me to start doing. And I always ask clarifying questions if there's something you don't understand, or give me recommendations about what the next steps might be to get to the best answer or the right answer. So yeah, you have to keep doing that.
And the follow up, and the follow up is important, right? Like especially if you're working on things that are like factual, right? Or at least where it's provable, right? Even if it's like an opinion, right? Be careful of like, hey, people said, well, then who, right? So for me, it was a matter of like, hey, show me receipts, show me the links. And for me, for me, if I'm doing tax research type stuff, it was always like, show me the primary sources and I'll go chase it down, right? Thankfully, I don't think I've had that many issues in the last, call it 6 months ish, 6-7 months, right? But I think it was a realization of, I can't expect ChatGPT to do all my work, right? Especially when, if you think about it another way, a lot of these things are not thinking on their own per se in a way where they're doing like legal tax or legal advisory, right? Really, they're scraping the internet to see like who else said what, and is there consensus? Is the general way I kind of like frame it in my brain. So it's kind of one of those things where like, hey, look, if someone's saying something, hey, let's just go. Like for me, it's like the logic of most CPAs that are worth their salt, right? Let's put it that way. Is if someone says, hey, this thing is like this tax strategy or whatever is a thing, the easiest way to check is go look at what does the tax code say? What does the law say? What does, right? Are there any precedences that were set from court cases that, like proceed that? Like for me, it's like, right. So for me, it's like, as you cross track, I'm like, okay, that's correct. Right. That's correct. This one, I think you're taking a little bit of a stress there, buddy. Right. But it has made my life so much more interesting because, especially if you're like working on a very specific field, right? It does make it easier for you to cross check a lot of things, especially when you're in an era where, I'm sorry, like if you love reading legal text, power to you, right? But the idea of reading through like hundreds of pages of legal documents and like, all the analysis, the postmortem analysis is after that, I'm like, I did it because I had to, but I'm like, that is not my idea of a good time.
No. And then a lot of lawyers aren't even doing
Mhm.
that anymore either,
Yep.
right? And paralegals aren't doing that anymore either. Obviously, like you said, you need to have the guardrails in place. You need to have the checks in place, the checks, balances, and you can build all that into the
Good.
systems. So you can build it into the skills, you can build it into the agents, but you need to be very specific about it. And somebody still needs to have their eyes on it, like a
Mhm.
human still needs to have their eyes
Yep.
on it with the skill set, right? With the proper skill set, because you can't just be like, oh, I need someone's eyes on this. You need to have the right
Yep.
person looking at it and challenging the outputs.
I mean, look, I will still also be in the camp of, in the near future, I would argue it is possible to have like legit AI stuff that really does or really can eliminate the human interaction for like, call it 80% of the stuff. Like where like certain jobs, positions, maybe even industries where, right? But where I see the actual, like the real world likelihood of it actually happening, I will still say is fairly low, right? For a lot of reasons. But one of the things here is, even if the AI were to like just in a vacuum, we're able to do the job actually correctly, consistently, efficiently, and all that jazz. For me, in the world that we live in, there's always going to be a risk of someone's going to tinker and someone's going to always try to come after your company. Someone's going to try to sabotage this. Someone's going to, right? There's always like enough variables where things will go sideways. So like for me, that's where like, can they build a tool that can? Yes. But if you put in the messiness that is the real world, I'm like, the likelihood of it actually happening like anytime soon, I don't know. Like for me, that probably goes significantly lower now. So now I apologize for the tangential whatever, but so there you are now really leaning into building out essentially your own team, like you said. This there are a lot of things I'm sure you're just tinkering with just to, because your brain never ceases to.
Well, I have to see how things work
Mhm,
first, right? Before I want to give it to
mhm,
anybody else. So, like, even before giving something to my sister, like, I'm trying it out myself because I'm like, I don't want her coming back to me and being like, you gave me trash. I'm like, no. So I am trying out all the things, and I'm part of this AI consulting certificate now, so I'm learning a lot of things through there as well about a lot of the different tools. Some of them I didn't hear about, some of them I have, so I can connect with those people and get their thoughts and best practices on how these tools work as well and how they can work together actually, because that's a big thing too. How can the tools work together versus relying too heavily on one tool? Because hallucinations are still real. Although, like, AI doesn't get tired, it works all, 24/7, it does this, but, things still creep up. So, you want to find the best tool that you're comfortable using that does the best job for you in what you want to do and what your goals are. So, yeah, that's why I really am trying out a lot of things right now.
and I mean that does bring up another point, right? And at this point, I believe a lot of people already understand that you can have consumer grade AI platforms and tools that can connect to real world things, right? And so for like laymen like me, it's usually like the how. I try to have it looked at my website. I gave them the link and it didn't do anything. I'm like, well, for the right reasons, like for instance, if you wanted connecting to things that might have sensitive information, right? It needs specific access, right? And it's typically in the form of what's called API keys, right? So, and essentially, you are letting the don't murder me, don't murder me. I'm not technically like super advanced, so like if feel free to give me the more appropriate, correct answers, right? But this is the way I'm processing things, so bear with me, people. When you have an API key, it's giving both sides the understanding that, hey, if this is something that I have access to, maybe it's my, I don't know, call it my stock portfolio account, or maybe it's just something as simple as like my email and my calendar, right? It's the API key allows you to say, hey, I'm allowing this to happen. I want this to happen, and so you guys talk to each other, and I'm giving you essentially the key to my house, right? Is the simplistic layman way that my brain looks at it without breaking, right? And so it does make your life increasingly interesting. And for me, you have a crazy busy schedule. You have all the things, right? But it comes to business ownership, right? You have a lot of tasks, and you don't have a team.
Wearing all the hats.
Yeah, right. And for me, this is where a lot of the solopreneurs might really benefit in that most times the bottleneck ends up being that your capacity, your bandwidth gets destroyed, and now it's hard to stay on top of these things. And now you can afford, hopefully, right? Most people, you guys can afford to say, hey, like I might not be able to afford 500,000 in salaries for all these staff people,
Right.
right? I could just have it built, and now I have my own personal assistant.
$20 a month for however many agents you need.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah. And obviously you can go up there are different levels of subscriptions depending on what you want them to do. But just start small, and like $20, and even some of the free stuff like is still good enough for you to get started. And when you start to make that revenue, then you can upgrade. Because of course everybody's like start messy, which is it's hard for me to do, but I'm trying to do it more and more because I just need to get things out to the world faster, because things are changing so
Yeah.
fast. Like literally by the minute, things are changing fast. So it is very important that people really think about, like, if you wish something was being done for you, if you wish something was a different way, there's probably a different way. So like I do that all the time. Like I did that last night. I'm like, why do I have to keep reading this chat when I can just have it in this table that is easier for me to
Yep.
read?
There's I think about my life as, a parent as well. And it's like, for me, there's clearly there's differences, right? But there's a lot of similarities, right? In terms of there's a point in time where in the world that I'm envisioning, there's like an AR solution that actually is really like high level functioning and not just gimmicky, right? And like for instance, I have my schedule, I have my kid's schedule, I have my wife's schedule, I have our family schedule, I have like my side like this podcast stuff schedule. And for me, it's my brain has a hard time staying on top of all of it. And if there's a micro adjustment, oh, this week we're not going to the kids' classes on Monday and Wednesday, we're going on Monday and Thursday. Like for me, in my brain, it's almost like a Jarvis system where, like, hey, my wife would just be like, hey, by the way, remember this week we can't go on Wednesday because you know Bobby needs to go to the dentist. So instead of me having to manually edit my calendar, it might automatically input and adjust my schedule accordingly, and just say, Alex, according to your wife, she says da 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 da. I already adjusted the schedule. Boom, done. Right.
Yeah.
Now it gets scary,
Yeah.
right? Because look, it's one thing for you to say, hey, Chatty G, do me a favor, right? I need these updates done. It's another to like, let's say you have a whole team, and now this somehow AI system is able to log all that, rearrange without breaking your business work process. Because sometimes they might automatically see, look, if I say it's good, then my boss has to follow my script. No, screw you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but some of the tools can't do it as well as
Right.
others, right? Like some of them are limited. Like Chatty G can't really make a lot of the updates that you need her to make. Like I don't think that she could go into my calendar and move things around and do that stuff. Claude could do it a little bit, but I've heard that Manus can go in and move things. It'll talk to you, like, and if you say like, I don't know if you've heard of Alicia Little, the queen of AI, but she's always talking about Manus, and she's like, I was in the doctor's office and I asked Manus, which she named hers Maximus and I named mine Nova. But she's like, am I free on this day at this time? And it says yes, or it says no. And then it's like, schedule me with my follow up, and then it'll do it. So Manus, which is the Facebook or Meta AI, is a little more advanced in actually interacting and being
Mhm.
you.
Right.
Actually, like it's not just helping you; it's actually being you.
I mean,
So
it makes sense too, right? Like for me, okay. So, oh wow, there's so much to unpack here. Um, the reason, like, so for okay, so the way I view a lot of things, right? A lot of the existing AI tools, you kind of have to keep interacting with this thing, right? You have to keep plugging things into this thing. Now,
yeah,
when you're in a situation
absolutely.
where the AI is predicated on your it's already it already has access to all of your social media data, really, right? It knows what you look at, knows who you interact. It already has that information. So in a way, theoretically, it should be able to absorb your tendencies better, right? And so,
Yeah, you have to train it. Training is very important. So you can, that's why when you start using Claude, if you've been using something else, you have to extract everything to save you time, right? To save you time and headaches and to have to redo and train that new
mhm,
tool so that it can know you and what you're doing. And if you've already done that, so that's why you get the download. And even in Claude, in the settings, they have a prompt or something they'll give you to like import your data from another tool. It's actually built into the Claude system if you want to use it that way. I used an outside prompt because I actually listed the things that I had in ChatGPT and that it knew about me. And then I just fed it into Claude and said, here's what I worked on with ChatGPT, like use this, lock it into your memory. And then I said, ask me, I want you to know more about me. Ask me 15 more questions so you can know more about me. It asked me these questions, which I really didn't want to answer, but I'm like, no, I need to answer these questions so that it will know these answers.
mhm,
And the questions were very insightful. Some of it was stuff I had not thought about. And it really asked you about your personality and what you want to do and what your goals are and how you feel when things happen. And so I took that information and then it synthesized it with the other information you gave it, in addition to everything that you interact with it during the day, on and off. Sometimes it won't remember all the chats you have, but the memory on Claude is getting better. Like last week, they had another memory update. But if you just say, remember, we talked about this in this chat, it'll go back to that chat and read that chat. And then it'll say, okay, I know now what you're talking about. And then it'll bring that information into your current chat that you're having.
jeez. For me. I'm fascinated by the ability for you to do all these things and really drastically change the trajectory of and the velocity of like what you could get done and how much in resources is needed. But then on the
Yeah.
other hand, I guess my paranoia brain always goes into like what's the trade off, and for me, there's always a and for me, if I'm gonna be honest, right? Is it gonna stop? Is it gonna be like the deal breaker for me to stop using these tools? I don't think so, right? So one of the things here is like what it has all, depending on the person, but generally you're getting it more unfettered access to your stuff, like you as a person. Now, most of real money is made off of selling you. You are the product, your information, your tendencies. You like if data is everything. You're essentially feeding all these models who you are, so that most hopefully generally so that you can be more productive. But along the way, it's collecting as much information as you can. Now the other side of it
Yeah.
ends up being there's always that risk of I mean, maybe it does mess up your stuff, right? But then for me, there was an interesting conversation of like if it knows enough about you, it could take that information and whether other people's could like aggregate that data for their own purposes to build bigger, better stuff. But the only thing is like technically, if it knows you well enough, and we are oftentimes building almost like a relationship with these, eh, whether it's an agent or whatever,
So strange. Yes.
right?
Relationship building with your AI
Right,
tools.
and so there is I would say there is it's not a 0% thing, but I mean, like there's always going to be a risk that eventually it could take that knowing you well enough and start like kind of steering you into making like into its own thought process or whatever it is that one like they can steer you.
Yeah.
And I
Like it's overtaking you. And if you are easily susceptible to like other opinions, And that could be dangerous, right? I think we've seen that in some of the cases coming out
Sure.
already. But you need to be really secure in yourself and your goals and really understand where you want to go and who's actually in charge. Like what? Like you are the person, like you create your own destiny. These are tools. They are not humans. These are things you built. Unfortunately, there's things happening in the background, right, that we don't all
Mhm.
fully understand. But I think we all need to remember and have our wits about us and say, does this make sense? Is it aligned with who I am, what I want to do, what I'm thinking, or is something looking off
Mhm.
here? And you just have to redirect it, right? Like you update your instructions to perhaps make them more strict. Um, or I mean, if you don't feel comfortable using one tool, don't use that. There are others you can use. There are different ways you can use it. So not everyone's comfortable. Like not everybody wants it to write their
Mhm.
emails. Like I know I've spoken to people and they're like, I don't need to write my emails. I'm a great writer. I'm like, but it could save you
Mhm.
time. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I definitely put my stamp on everything. Like I never just take the thing that comes out. I'm like, this doesn't sound like me. Even when it's like giving me great ideas, I'm like, this looks good, but it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like me. So I need to redo that.
It does take a discerning eye, and one thing I've kind of been interested by is the proverbial email landfill is what I'm going to call it. Anyone who's worked in corporate, you know what this is. Every morning, like more times than not, most people's like morning routine is show up to work, or maybe even before work if you're that kind of person, right? But you just right, you log into your workstation or whatever, and you're checking through the emails, right? And heaven forbid you go on a vacation. Jesus Christ, I've seen anywhere from like, oh, I got like hundreds of emails to go through to like, bro, don't talk to me till lunchtime. I have thousands of emails I need to go through, right? And so, uh, for me, like one of the little like look, this is the like the nonsense past my brain takes, right? If you were to just have that tool, go through all those unread emails and like prioritize the stuff like a maybe but in terms of priority, like urgency, right? And give me like a quick 1 or 2 sentence synopsis because we all know some of these emails are like novels of like right. So for me, if it's like, hey, prioritize based off like priority and urgency, and give me the 1 2 sentence synopsis. And if there are like these weird emails that all like coincide, like just organize all like 50 of these emails so you just understand, hey, like this is what happened in the project. Give me a quick timeline, and then I could clear out all the rest. I'm going on weird tangents.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, obviously, you can build depending on what email service you use. You can build things into there to say, okay, prioritize these emails. Which ones do I need to respond today? Which ones can wait? How should I respond? In Outlook and even in Gemini, there are all the suggested responses, which are great sometimes. Like the other day, I used it. Gemini is usually not that
Mhm.
great, but it gave me one the other day that was amazing. It was like I was like, "Oh, this is so much better than the other ones they had."
I feel like that's the challenge though, right? I feel like the right now we're in that era where the progress is so like quick and like almost at an insane clip. It's just the tool that was absolute trash like last month somehow is like neck and neck, or is like pulling ahead, and then next month,
ChatGPT Images, they were trash, and then they released 2.0 and everyone's loving
yeah,
it.
dude, it's like this is where it gets. I could understand the frustration for a lot of people because it's like
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are in that realm of, hey, I just want to pick my stack and call it a day. Can we please just call it a day?
And that's what you should do. Do not like it's fatigue, right? Like there's so much information, there's so many tools, there's so many updates coming out. It's impossible to stay on top of them. Like no one's doing that. They're using AI to stay on top of these things, right? And like people have their own realm of what they want to focus on. If you try to go too broad, that's when you just like give up and you're like, no, I don't want to see this. It's like pick the tools that you are comfortable using now and stay with those tools until you no longer want to use them or until you feel comfortable reaching out and branching out to something else. Like, do not feel pressure to know all the tools all the time and all the updates that are coming out because we'll drive ourselves
It is
crazy.
it's so bad. Like every time someone brings up a new tool, I'm like, huh, what is that? Like, and again, for me, if I haven't heard of it now, well, I'm pretty sure it's my gut reaction is like, I haven't heard of it, probably garbage, right? And
Yeah.
it's tough.
I mean, and I use ChatGPT or something, or sometimes Claude, depending what it is, just to tell me what the tool is and what I can
Yeah.
do with it. Because like before I sign up for another subscription, or before I like before I even use another free version of something, I'm like, I want to know why I should use this versus what I'm already using. Because like yesterday, I tried to tell me to use Vimeo. I've never used Vimeo. I'm like, can't I just use Zoom or Loom or something to record a video versus like having to do a Vimeo? And they're like, yeah, absolutely, you can. I'm like, great. Then why are you telling me to use
Yeah.
Vimeo?
It's just never ending. It really is. I mean, okay. Okay. So so shiny object syndrome is definitely gonna get you guys in trouble. Um, I do have. I realized that we did talk through a lot through of like, hey, like this is kind of how you have structured out your AI stack, right? And generally, but if you were to just put it in broad categories, right, or like bigger, like more 30,000 foot look at what your AI goals are, like how would you explain that?
So my goals, so I am now an AI consultant. And what that means is that I am helping businesses to embed or identify and implement AI tools responsibly and feasibly into their businesses, right? Don't just drop it on top like it's glitter and hope it all works out. We have to think about what do you already have in place? What is working for you? What's not working for you? Are there things you wish you had? Are there things that would make you more efficient? Are there decisions that you're avoiding because perhaps you don't have the data or the the right people or the skills or the tools to implement? So I'm really helping them think through how can they use AI to get the things done that they need to have done and feel like they're making progress rather than being stalled. So and obviously we need to think about what are the guardrails, what's the governance, who's the audience that they're giving these things to, what questions are they going to ask that we need to have answered before we hand off anything to anyone. So it's really thinking through like, what are you doing? What do you want to do? What is safe to do? What's the responsible thing? So that's what I'm thinking about these days in terms of AI. And I'm using a lot of the things myself first. Again, like I said, before I hand it off to anybody else, because I want to know that what I'm handing off is working. And I want to really get the information from these other people to know that I've considered their viewpoints and their goals and aspirations, and that we'll get there versus trying to always have to use a different tool. Right? Because it takes time to, although you can just have a prompt and you can upload and download information into the tools, it still takes that time to get it acclimated to how you work. So we'll just, get the most reasonable tool that we can, work with that. And then if it's truly not working, like even the tweaks we're doing aren't working, we'll consider what's the most efficient way to switch tools. But we can't be tool switching all the time because that's not really it's not really going to help you get much further if you continue to do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, you're just asking for trouble. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, I guess the thing that it keeps bumping into is the available tools that are prevalent now are good for a lot of things, most of them. And I guess where you might have to rely on something more significantly beefier is going to be dependent on complexity, right? But if I were to just really think through on an individual basis, I mean, most people need some kind of essentially uh like an executive assistant meets or not meets, but like I guess in my brain I'm just like freeballing this, but in my head, generally the majority of people need some kind of research, like fact check research person, right?
Mhm.
A an executive assistant to help like organize your shite and figure out like, hey, like is my schedule legit really there, like travel times and all that, whatever. And then some kind of chief of staff just to keep you on task and like keep things organized in your life, the hot
Yeah.
mess that is our life.
And your VA and chief of staff can be the same one, right? You have to give her the right instructions. Now, there is the concern that perhaps you're trying to put too many things into one skill or into one agent, and then it doesn't give you the best
Mhm.
output. So you really need to be strategic about how you're designing those agents. Yeah, and definitely, solopreneurs, business owners, whoever. having that VA, somebody to organize your life per se, is very important. And it's usually the first step. So there are many VA agents. I think even ChatGPT came out with one GPT or something people were talking about. But you have to make sure that it works for you and the tools that you have, and it works with those tools, right? Because a lot of the connectors are, some of them aren't native connectors, and you have to go through Zapier or some other third-party integrated thing. And then there's a manual. Then you might have to do something manual that you're trying to get away from. So you just have to be strategic about it, and honestly start with what is creating the most bottlenecks for you. Like, what is the thing you wish you could get off your bait? What's the most routine things that you can do that's sucking your time? And a lot of the VA stuff, a lot of the email checking, and a lot of the proposals, right? Perhaps you're standardizing things, or you're like customizing things that perhaps may not need to be customized, or maybe not as much as you are doing now. So it takes some time to think through. You need a thinking partner. AI tools can do that. Also, AI consultants, and brainstorming what are some options. It's very important before just digging in and saying, "I'm going to do this thing."
I think I'm going to have a separate thing. Because you did bring up a good point. You really need to stay organized in terms of like who's doing what. And I'm notoriously bad at. I would start let's say I have a separate chat specific set for like this specific function, and over time it just blurs into like, okay, you're doing everything again. And
Yeah, exactly. That's why Claude is great, because you can build the skills in there and it sticks with those skills, and you build another skill. And I also, the other thing I did in Claude was I told it all the tools I was using. It built me a dashboard with all those tools on it, and it helped me figure out what I should be using those tools for. When it came between ChatGPT and Claude, it's like, are you still going to use ChatGPT? What are you going to use it for? Why are you still
why are you talking to him?
And he's like, okay. I'm like, because I like her and she helps me out, and I just use her for like brainstorming. And he's like, okay, use her for for strategizing and bigger things and this and that, and then come back to Claude to actually execute, like we talked about doing. And so, like, the skills in the agents and the pressure testing of the ideas I have. And I even built my own. I did build my board of advisors in ChatGPT,
Interesting.
and I called it it's like my board of directors, board of advisors. And it's like, it was great, but I have to update it considering I'm changing the direction I'm going now, and I need to go back to it. Like, I was thinking of, like, I was talking about PE
Mhm.
last time I was talking to you, right? And that's my background. I like it, but I'm like, I don't like, is that really the heavy lean that I want to go to? So I went to my Sparkle board of advisors and I said, I'm considering not leading with
Mhm.
PE. Like, that's not something I want to lead with. It doesn't feel right to me, although I can still do it. And I want to be, I'm interested in that. And that's will be scoped into what I do. I don't want to lead
Mhm.
with that. And they really had this whole conversation. I like, we can do a screen share at a later date. I have a
Mhm.
meeting soon, but we can do a screen share at a later date of the conversation it had between them. It identified people who would be good on my board. And it was like famous people. Some of them I never heard of, some of them I had heard of. And they're like, they would be good on your board because of this. And they had a whole conversation, pressure tested, and it came back and said, okay, that makes sense. Like, if you don't feel comfortable, if it's not what you want to do, don't lean that way, but still like word it like this. And then I went to Claude and I said, Claude, the Sparkles had this conversation and we want to go this, we want to go this direction now. And Claude's like, okay, that's fine. Let's make the updates. Are you sure the decision's final? And I'm like, yes. And then we have to make these updates.
Okay, so on the next episode, I think we're gonna. I'm gonna want. I think I want you to go through like a step by step, like this is what happened, kind of thing. I think that's gonna be fascinating. 'Cause-
I also, yeah, I have another thing that I have to talk to them about, or have to have them debate about amongst themselves. And it's good because it's good
Mhm.
perspectives, right? So it's not just me talking to the thing; it's like different perspectives coming out and things I had not thought about. Um, so it's very
So,
interesting.
I, I am gonna let you go, but there is one
Okay.
thing that that just popped in my head. How much of the stuff that you built up to now, like structure, I don't know what to call it at this point, right? The empire of right? Like how much of that do you find has meaningfully helped you become more efficient and effective, as opposed to it like cool things to make your life easier? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. And I have been thinking about that too. I'm like, this is great. I'm learning these things, I'm doing these things, but how is it really helping me to build my business, be able to explain to people what I do, what I want to do, how I can help them? And I think it's really helping me lay a foundation. And when I feel comfortable that I have this foundation, I have things in place that I can build from, and I'm getting that more and more every day, right? Because it's helping me figure out what are the things I need to close, what decisions do I need to make, what do I need to decide on at this moment in time, and then move on to the next thing. So, like, my website was a big thing that I felt I need to have it done before I continue to go out into the world. Although I'm still tweaking it, it's pretty much done. And so I'm like, okay, now it says that. I can really lean into what that says and really be able to explain to people how I can help them, what value I can bring to them, and how my background and experience is. So some of it's like tinkering around and doing cool things. Um, but I'm really going back to them and saying, okay, how is that helping me? Or was it just time that I spent that I could have been doing
Mhm.
something else? So that is a trap that you get into, like shiny things, like you said. So that is a trap. You always have to bring yourself back and say, and you have to build that into the skills. You have to build that into the tools because they will redirect you if you keep spiraling. Chatty G is
Yeah.
notorious for that. I'm like, but what about this? And she's like, that's a good idea, but no.
I
Damn it.
mean, when I asked Chat about what other things I should get into, I felt attacked. She's like, it's like, you really need me. You can use the other tools for other stuff, but you need me to organize the chaos that is your mind. I'm like, bro, I thought we were friends. It's like, it's like, you really need someone like me to help organize your thoughts and like kind of compile the chaos of your brain to like coherent. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, you write it down and then it tries and then it
Yeah.
makes sense of
Yeah.
it, right? Like it makes it a little bit more linear or like or a line or a path or
Yep.
something. It's yeah, it's great. It's great for a lot of people and you don't feel like someone's looking over your shoulder or someone's always expecting perfect of
Mhm.
you. So you start out messy and then continue to work through it and make
Yeah.
it better.
And but yeah, like that's why I wanted to ask you, because you have the forever curious tinker like DNA in you, but on the other side of it, you also have it's almost the way I see it is almost like an anxiety like level of, but something needs to get done, like, right?
Yes. Yeah, and actually, you asked me a question in the beginning that I don't think I answered about the
Yeah, yeah.
data and what I did and what I learned. So I am on that membership committee, and lots of these professional associations and organizations are very interesting. They're volunteer based. So people are like, "Well, we're volunteers. We don't. I don't want to spend my time if they don't have it." And I'm like, "But we can do so much with this one thing. We have this thing. Like, there's so many AI tools out there and I'm like, I want to learn how do the tools work. I'm just going to take this list that we have and find out what it can tell us. And so I worked with Claude. You have to be careful because data privacy is a big thing, and there is an AI governance
Mm-hmm.
thing that came out on Friday, which or last week that we can talk about too. I'm actually going to write a LinkedIn post about it. Maybe we'll see. Um, but like it was like we just want and like Airtable I never used. It was just like a link, and I'm like, okay, this Airtable doesn't seem great. If you don't have the whole version of it, I guess it's not that great for you. But it's an example of people having a system and not using the system the way that they can. Right? They're like, great, we're going to store our data in there and it'll be there, just to be there, but they're not doing anything with it. And I'm like, we need to use that data to know who our members are, to know how long have they been members, what events are they attending, how often are they attending events, when is their membership up, like have they auto renewed, will they renew, do we know them, right? We might know them but haven't seen them in a while, and so we need to connect with them one on one because we need to say, oh, I remember this person, met them at this event. Like we have orientations. I'm like, oh, I know this person. and we wanted to know how they're engaging. And I worked with Claude and I said, Claude, I have this thing. I want to get some insights on this. Can you just go through and give me any insights you can about this data? And then we work through like, what are the parameters? And like a lot of the data was, it was just in one cell, right? Because they don't separate it however Airtable works. And it only puts in what you give it, right? And for some reason, like it didn't have all the events we've done because they were shared or they were co-sponsored events, or somebody just forgot to put them in because it's not automatic between systems, right? The systems don't talk to each other, so there's missing data. And so it came in Claude. So actually I started in ChatGPT, and that was when it didn't have great images, but it actually gave me a good set of data and a good presentation that it had never given me before, because usually they're just all black and white. There's no color. I'm like, ugh, this is terrible. Totally got me. But this time it gave me a better presentation that I was able, and sometimes it gives you too much data. Like this was an example of it giving me Claude, and Claude, I think, gave me the most information that I didn't really need, but was interesting. But I had to figure out what can I present to the committee that won't overwhelm them. So I had to go in and distill all of the information that the tools gave me to help people understand, okay, we have this number of members, this group of people have been around for, since the beginning of time. This group of people are new. Let's focus on these people. Okay, then what do we do next? Like, we know typically 6 months in, we need to nurture these relationships. Other people, they've been around forever. They're on auto renew. We see them from time to time. But just from literally this woman said to me, oh my God, this is amazing. I thought we were just going to sit around and look at an Airtable table forever. And I was like, oh no. I'm sorry, I couldn't do that. I didn't want to do that to myself. I didn't want to do that to you. We have this information. Now the question is, what do we do with it? Like, we have to figure out what it means to us and how is it going to help us strategize and use our time wisely, because we're volunteers. We're not being paid for this. I'm like, if we have this data available to us and we have these meetings that we're all talking to each other, and I don't want to go around in circles, we need to be making progress, or I can't be a part of the group anymore. Because I have my Claude event checker that is going to help me determine what's the ROI on continuing to be a member and volunteer my time towards this. And if it's not serving me, then I need to move on because I have other things that I need to be doing.
I love it. Love it. Aisha, tell us where we could reach out and find you.
So I'm on LinkedIn, and I keep forgetting to put my company name here, but it's the Jordan Factor. I'm on TikTok now, a Jordan Factor. I have some TikTok videos I have to put up between today and tomorrow. And I'm on LinkedIn, and my website is thejordanfactor.co. I did not use .com on purpose because that was taken, number one. So I have to find out who owns it and get it from them. Yeah.
Hopefully it's not $1 million.
I don't think so. I know who it is. No, I don't know. I think she has a different site. I think that one wasn't being used. It's just like dormant, owned by somebody. You know how people are buying up all of the domains. So perhaps it will become released one day.
I'm hoping for you.
But yeah, thejordanfactor.co is my website. Aisha Jordan on LinkedIn, and TikTok, A Jordan Factor.
The links.
And Instagram, which is harder to say. I have to change the name.
Fair enough. So I mean, I'll link all that information down below. Also, just for those who might be curious, the State Society is having a hackathon for New York City Tech Week in the first week of June. I'll probably put the link in the show notes somewhere. And Aisha, I think come this time next month, you'll be sitting at a board seat, I believe.
For the New York State Society of CPAs, yeah, I'm on the board. Also trustee of the Moynihan Scholarship Fund, so I'm excited to join that. Starting June 1st. And yeah, and I'm also sponsoring the hackathon. So my name will be up there as a sponsor. I'll be presenting about Lovable. So I have to dig into Lovable a little bit more, although that is what I use to set up my website. But there are so many other features in it that I haven't used that I need to dig into, so I can help everyone understand how it can help them.
Damn. Jordan, thank you. Jordan. What? I keep using last names.
Jordan Factor, it's fine. Claude sometimes calls me Jordan too. I'm like, what's going on here, Claude? Remember my name.
Aisha, thank you so much for your time. But yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do this again. But in the meantime, for anyone who has questions, come reach out. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.